How's it going? Here's my vlog for the 8:45 p.m. Ooh, 8:45 p.m. The light's still kind of out, and it's the 21st of July, Friday. Oh my. Huh. Um, Time's going forward. Yeah, I'm gonna need to get a roommate, I guess, by the beginning of August. Only have 9 days. Today was my third day. Um, Organizing my apartment. Um, I've been diurnalized, so that's good. That's really good. All of a sudden, boom, went diurnal. All it took was one day of working on my house during the day, and. So yeah, last night darkness came like 10 o'clock or whatever, 9 o'clock, and I just laid down on bed and was just out. And then when sun came up at like 7, I was up at 7:30. So it's funny. I don't speak with articles anymore. The Sun. I say when sun, because that's how I have my website designed. Anyway. So today I think was my third day organizing my house, and it was busy all day long. I got the rest of my roommate's stuff in the basement. I guess I'll see him in a year. I don't know. And give him the stuff back. Left a lot of stuff, including the bike. And my storage down in my garage is pretty much full. So and then I went on my deck here. I cleaned it up. See, my whole house hadn't been organized in like a year, like 10 months or something. I set it all up last summer, and then I got a roommate, and I was working on my website, and then I was in my room working, and I just never got around to organizing my stuff. And over the last year, everything got discombobulated. And then also when the electricians came and they had to break everything up. But there had been so many windstorms that after I had to bring in the plants from last winter, that the wind came and blew all of this dirt out onto the inside of my deck, onto the floor, and so yeah, instead of like sweeping it and putting it back into the flower pot, I figured I would sweep it and then just throw it in the dirt and then buy like new potting flower. I think soil. I think the stuff that I got there. I think the stuff that I got then was way more like not that good. It had these little bits of like white in it and stuff, and so it was kind of ugly. But yeah, I mean, it gets really windy, and even today it was really blowing. But so yeah, and I had to sift out and organize stuff, and I didn't do that good of a job organizing stuff because I'm just in a hurry to do this. But yeah, I had to sweep all that up on the deck. So I did the deck, I did the room, and then I went to my bedroom, and that was all crazy. And I'm actually not done with my bedroom. I have to go in the bedroom, and because I also had to do a lot of house maintenance stuff that I hadn't done forever. Like zip tying things. I had to zip tie that cable, like this stuff that I bought and I put in and I never finished. Zip tying, yeah, just around and fixing things. Oh, I installed the ferret door in my personal bathroom, which I've been wanting to do for a long time. And so I set up my little Dremel tool for that, and yeah, and yeah, I was just busy all day long, and I don't know if I'll have time to finish the room. What I wanted to do was set up my hard drives. Maybe that's what I'll do tonight. But if 10 o'clock, I'll only do it for like another hour. It's 8:50 now. I won't be up for more than until 10. I don't want to go down. And set up my the hard drives in my room and start uploading them again, and all the cables, because I didn't quite finish with that. And I didn't hook up all the cables for my TV either, because I couldn't plug in everything. I think I have to buy another power cord strip, because I didn't organize the power strips the same way or something. So, or maybe I didn't have enough before, I don't know, or I barely did. So I go, next time I have a chance, go over there and get a power cord and stick it back, and then I can do the TV. But see, I can do all this stuff later. I'm only trying to put my house back together on a superficial level now. Except for the hard drives. I like to get the hard drives hooked up and stuff. So, because tomorrow, hopefully, I would like to take photos of the apartment and then put ads for a roommate. I need to get that going really quick. Luckily, I think it's the beginning of August. That's when students are coming back, so it'll be easy for me to do it. It'll be a little bit more competitive. I have to compete with... It's actually it's not that easy for me to get a roommate. I have to compete with a lot of these, rental houses where the entire house is filled with renters, and there's like 4 or 5 people, and they're like, we're looking for one more roommate, we need that one last roommate, and they're like they're like a couple $100 a month less than me and stuff, and so cheap people like to go for situations like that. But this month I should be able to get a roommate. But I need to get a roommate. I need to get a roommate who's not a problem with, doesn't have a problem with reptiles, because I might, if I have the money, I don't know, I might want to get another tegu, because tegus are cool, and tortoise. My tegu and tortoise were best friends. It was the cutest thing. They had their heads together all the time. They were literally best friends. And then they'd come out and they'd free roam. My tegu always wanted to free roam. And he wanted to actually hang out in my room with me. Didn't even want to be in his cage. He wanted to be in my room with me all the time, underneath one of the ripples in my rug. But anyway, I sold my tegu and my tortoise because my roommate freaked out and wanted me to sell him, because he said he was going to sue me if he got salmonella. And I was like, all right. Anyway, plus I needed the money. Even though I lost $600 on that deal. But my mom encouraged me to drive down. She drove me down. So but also a roommate who's like busy and can deal with me being here all the time. And so you'd have to have a life. You can't be the kind of person who's just going to be stuck in your room all the time, because then you're going to get super freaked out with me being here. I wouldn't get freaked out with somebody else here, as long as they're not freaked out about me being here. Because I'm going to do the, I work on my website, here, which my brothers say isn't a job, whatever. But I'm going to, I'm going to be doing the working out in my room. What I do there? I'm going to do, on OnlyFans, I'm going to track my shape, and I'm going to make it as regimented as I can. Luckily for me, I have a really good studio, and maybe after I do this video, I'll do a demo of my room. But do photos from the same angle, measurements, weighing myself, all of that every day the same, and then I'd basically film myself do different sets, and each set is a new video on OnlyFans. And so I would just do video, and they would all be like in one day. And so at the end of it, I would have like a little summary for the day, how many overall pounds I lifted that day. The way that you calculate it is if you do 3 sets of 10, that's what would they be? That's 300, right? Because 10 pounds, 3 sets of 10 at 10 pounds, okay? So that's like 300, because 1 set of 10 is, that's 100. Because each time you do 1, that's 10. Because it's 10-pound dumbbells, because you're not doing it like 20, because it's 10 each, right? Because it's the same. If you had a barbell, 10-pound barbell or whatever. Okay, so 1 rep, 10 pounds. 10 reps, 100 pounds. 3 reps of 10, 300 pounds. And so that's 300 pounds. And so you just market it. And I think that's the way that people should live these days, because it's kind of like how many miles you run, you ride your bike, you know? It's and nobody does that. So, but then I want to do dumbbell complexes. I want to bring dumbbell complexes to the mainstream. People don't do that enough, because it's something that you could do in like a second floor apartment, which is where I live. Too many of the time you're seeing people, you know, with their videos, oh, check me out in the gym where they're dropping them, these rubber weights. It's like, yeah, but most people, you know, it's not encouraging to try to motivate to do that over where you have to go over there. Why don't you do it where everybody has a place, has a spot, and then everybody on their own time, spontaneously even, can go and can compete with each other in their in a neutral environment, you know, that everybody has. Like, so you have to baby the stuff, you know, like you have the dumbbells, and you do the dumbbell complex, where I call it the dumbbell doozy. I think CrossFit, because I got it from CrossFit. But they did it like years ago, and then they don't do it anymore. It's like I can't find anybody who does it, but it's called the dumbbell complex. Whatever, they have 5 different ones, but you could do this just a simple one where it's you just pick it up and do it over your head. You know, I guess in CrossFit they have it grace with dumbbell grace. But you do it maybe for speed, but you also do it for a number of reps at different weights, and I think that's a good exercise, because it does all of your whole body, and and you can't drop it, you know, and fall through the floor and land on your neighbor's head. You have to baby it, and so you have to, because otherwise you're gonna do damage to your floor. So it's a good way to force people to have good form, you know, and to do it within your own house. And I also have barbells and stuff, but but yeah. So, and also I can add a lot of acting into it and skits, because in the beginning I'll be funny because I'm just a funny fat guy. But once you get a good body, then you can pretend you're some kind of like martial arts person. You get in the martial arts posing with the oil, and you can do a photo of you next to like Rambo. It's like, me and Rambo, we took out the gooks, So, or you can be like an action star, So if you get muscular, and then you can do videos of yourself doing your kata, and you're fighting your digital enemies. And so, like, my little skit would be in the kicking. My little skit is that I'm a time traveler, and so just like with Terminator movie, they have to do their time traveling in the nude. So that's my excuse to be in the nude for OnlyFans. And so I'm a time traveler, and I have to time travel in the nude, and so I'm doing my exercise. And so I travel through time to find villages of, like, throughout history, millions of years ago or whatever, and finding villages of women and children that need protection from the weird woodsmen, the weird woods creeps, because while their warriors are off at war and hunting and stuff, and also to hang out with like famous, situations in the past. Maybe I'll visit battles and visit famous kings, or I was thinking at one point I had a competition with the Arnold Schwarzenegger robot over at Herculaneum with Hercules, and I won the rock throwing contest. And yeah, all kinds of ideas like that. And then you could do maybe later on with Google, zooming in and out of it, and getting kind of high tech, with it, and make it historical. And I also have the, of course, fully clothed, because I want to do some YouTube videos of myself. If I get particularly motivated to try to do well with like a benchmark dumbbell complex. Like if I break my record of one of my dumbbell complexes from years ago, because I have it all on YouTube, I can try to break all that once I get more fit. And so, um, I wasn't particularly far along in my weightlifting journey when I was doing YouTube weightlifting, because I did weightlifting, different exercises like the best PR, how much you did. I did it maybe 2 or 3 times each per exercise because there were a lot. And like the third time I did it, I broke the record, but I wasn't really. I was only doing enough to break the record. I wasn't doing it to like kill myself because I was doing all these exercises at the same time. So I was like already tired when I did them, and so there would be records that I could. They wouldn't be that particularly hard to break, even now as an older guy, 15 years later or whatever. Because then after that, I went into the gym and I lifted some more and got stronger, and I think I was around the same weight as I am now when I was doing the weightlifting that you can see in YouTube. I was about 175 pounds and I'm 179 pounds now. I'm a lot weaker now. I'm like crazy weak now. But, at least it'll make me the funny weak fat guy. And I can, at least, and I can show myself, progressing that way. So yeah, that's what that's what my idea about how to tackle, OnlyFans is. And as far as making money, I want to be a rainbow, not a drainbow. I'm going to call myself Rainbow Warlord, the Rainbow Warrior, because I have a Rainbow Greaves rainbow outfit that I have and a helmet and everything. And my website's rainbow and everything, and I love rainbows. And my website, my OnlyFans. I will definitely cater to the rainbow people, the trannies and the gays and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So what I was saying, oh man, yeah. Oh man, I lost my train of thought. So yeah, anyways, I was gonna say something, but I lost my train of thought. So tomorrow, though, and I thought it was today, and luckily it wasn't today. I totally got sidetracked with time. I have to go to work, but I think I'll make like a couple $100. She gives me like $200 or $300. I think it's $300. To have to pick up like 60 pieces of hay. I have to bale hay. Put hay inside. I think she said like 11 inside of the shed. And so, that's appropriate because now I'm planning on getting back in shape. So it's a good way to warm up, because that's pretty low intensity exercise. It's a good way to get myself going because, I actually do really need to exercise because I'm at the point where I'm feeling my elbow. Oh, I remember what I was going to talk about. I remember feeling, my elbow. Oh my God, there's no muscle here. It's just like soft. Like, oh my God. My elbow just has these like pain coming up, because I'm like melting away. I'm getting kind of cold. It was raining crazy earlier today. So this is what I was going to talk about before I forget about it. So I'm going to talk about oil royalties because this is kind of the problem I'm having with my family. One of the problems is I wasn't allowed to talk about that because they're like paranoid about it. But now since we're not talking about them, I'm not talking to them anymore, and I don't care what they think because they asked me to do all these things. Don't talk about that, and then I realized they're just it's without reason, and they're just not being reasonable, and they're just pushing me around, and so. And it causes big time problems for me to not talk about it because it allows people to mess with me and like troll me online on YouTube and trash me and call me names and stuff, because then I can't like defend myself. So here's me defending myself. So if you were in a situation where you had, you know, you had time on your hands, you know, you didn't have to show up at work all the time. You happen to have time on your hands. Whether you're a high school kid and you still live with your parents, you're a housewife, or maybe you're a man and you happen to be married to a rich woman, or whatever. Maybe you're in a halfway house and they're not kicking you out and they're giving you free food, or whatever. Or you're me, and you happen to have just enough passive income to get by. I have I get like $3,000 a month, but I have I'm like more than $20,000 in debt. That's the problem, and also I'm only third owner of this apartment, and now my brothers are starting to say that they want all this extra money because they can't keep up with their mortgages, even though they're not married with any kids and they get just as much as I do. But whatever. If you were in a situation where you had just enough to just buy a computer and have a nice place and have time on your hands, because the oil rot here, what would you do? In the beginning, when when you're younger, I imagine that any normal person would, when they're in their 20s, would have this thing called wanderlust. Everybody has it. Plato talked about it in his book Republic. He said, in my perfect world, in the world of Republic, men would be 18 years older than their wives, or did he say 19 years older? The men would be 38, and the women would be like, when they get married, and the women would be like 19. The town has exactly 10,000 people, and when people are in their 20s, they go and they travel, because when you're in your 20s, you have wanderlust. And so it makes sense that if you're 20s, you do a little bit of the wanderlust from the oil. But if you're doing that more than like a couple of years, and you end up becoming like a perpetual traveler or whatever, you fail. You're just a useless eater. You're the perfect example of when the world is getting overpopulated and being people just destroying the planet with all of the resources they use. In the book of Enki, which I didn't read very long ago, which is the story of Prometheus, he was saying that they created humans, the Anunnaki created humans 250,000 years ago to help them mine for gold for their planet Nibiru. And then Enki was like, well, you know what? These humans are great. Let's turn them into people. And they're like, yeah, but they had the conversation. I think it was Enki and Enlil. He said, and it's kind of similar to the Malthusian argument. What he said was, and it's written in the book of Enki, is, yeah, but the problem is if you create these humans like this and teach them agriculture, yada, and give them our technology, these, to quote in the book of Enki, they're going to overrun the earth. They're going to populate like rabbits, and destroy everything. And that's what's happening now. The big problem with the earth is people say, well, yeah, it's global warming, it's environmental destruction, which is going to cause from once you hit a certain degree of temperature, which happens next year, then the ecosystem collapses, and then none of the animals can support each other, and everything collapses, and then human society. So what's the root of the problem? Is there's too many people. But if you wanted to get even more root than that, well, why are there too many people? It's because they're not educated. There's too many stupid people having babies. It's that it's just like that Genesis song, "Land of Confusion." There's too many people making too many problems. Yeah, sure. People could be like, no, there's not too many people. If you were like, the world could sustain 8 billion people. Isn't that what it is? Or 8 trillion people? Or you could put the entire population of the earth inside of Texas if we did it right, and stuff. But yeah, that's assuming we have lots of people like who are smart. But we have, just like the Genesis song, we have too many people making too many problems. You know, you put that together, and it's the Malthusian problem, or the Enkian problem. Um, it's beyond Malthusian, because Malthusian is like how much you can, I think, how much you can populate the people based on how much farmland you can have. But now we can do all sorts of stuff with food to make even more people, to use even more resources, and to kill the planet. So it's the Enkian problem. And and so, how do you make it? How do you fix a world that has too many people with too many problems, causing too many problems? Well, you make the people who are alive smarter. Um, and so, how do you do that? You do it by, in a real way. You have to do it. You have to do it in a way that's cost effective. And so, you have to completely change the way everything is done. You have to design it so that people can teach themselves. You know, you turn it into a self correcting problem. You know, instead of you turn it into like a system. You know, like in the beginning you would have all the different railroad tracks have different widths, and then you have to make it the same. Well, it's the same thing with knowledge. You know, in the beginning you have, oh, there's this profession and they're good at that, and that profession's good at that, and that profession's good at that. But then it causes problems because there's certain professions over here that make so much more money than these professions, and then, so that these people must be smarter. Then it turns out that these people, they're not smarter, they're just better at making money for themselves, because you could not make any money at all but be really smart trying to help the world. And so we have to make just like with the railroad tracks, we have to make a standardization of who's smarter, of what is smart. And what is smart is social smarts, like um, uh, history, and the difference between right and wrong, and good and bad, and who's on the right and wrong side of history. And if you could have people being smart like that, but in a self-perpetuating way, that doesn't take taxes. Because the problem with the world now is that we're gobbling up too many taxes. We're way too heavy and expensive in the way that we operate, because we have to, because we create machines that make life way easier, but then we make it bad again by creating the rules and the regulations and the hoops you have to jump through. And I'm talking about like school, because people don't trust each other to be be educated. I think the motto of education, I think for my high school that I went to, Boulder High, is, yeah, we're here to try to make citizens who are responsible, right? And we kind of forget that. Like, people are like, yeah, go to education. Yeah, but for what? You want to make people who are responsible citizens who can then teach themselves. And so, how do you do that? What's the mechanism to do that? Well, it's not what we're doing now. We need a whole revolution, because what we're doing now is if the teacher likes you, they give you the pass, and then you go up. And if you want to go up in life, then the boss likes you, and they promote you. Or you get appointed as the judge here, or appointed here, appointed there. It's like, where's the actual meritocracy? So we need to instill that, and so that's where my idea comes in. Because we have technology, you just do this bi-weekly history test every 2 weeks. The random number generator just tells you a decade, and then you're supposed to tell you what you know about that decade, and then for a minute, and then you have to do 60 of them, and then it exposes how much you know, how much you don't know, but also, just as importantly, where your mind is at, where your priorities lay and your values lie. And you can't hide that, because you betray yourself based on what you know, what you're able to blurt out when you're taking the test. And even the best actor or poker player or hider isn't going to not blurt that out, because they're trying to get a high score on the test. And so it exposes people, which then pressurizes people to pay attention to the correct things, which is like, the most important inventions that came and why they came, and social laws, instead of like pop culture, and royal family or whatever. And so, and then the book reviews. So you have to actually reward people for that. You have to pay people to participate in that program, taking the test, and the biweekly history test, and doing the book reviews, and then making the website, typing what your ideas about things, and you know, systematically showing it on YouTube, and then of course mixing that with the physicality, like showing what you do physically, which I guess I'm going to start doing in my room with lifting weights. But I also have it with cycling and all the sports, that and then connecting it with history. But if you can make a system of that, then people get paid to do that, and then there's no running, no hiding, and it motivates people because they're competing against each other to try to do the best in this transparent way, and it's with zero overhead. So the taxes go down so far, right? Because everybody knows how much money we spend on colleges and university. You don't have to do that anymore. You even with trade schools, you can learn from yourself. You know, you just minimize as much as you can, and then you use the extra money to create these machines, these giant, huge, giant tractor-sized machines that just travel all over the desert, planting seeds. And we just plant a gazillion seeds, 100 trillion gazillion seeds everywhere, which create new little Amazon rainforests, which then create rain clouds, which then create ecosystems, which then does carbon capture. And then if we wanted to carbon capture, we could actually go in there with machines and create little carbon blocks, and then store them and then dump them to the bottom of the ocean so they'll never fall up. Encase them in cement or something, dump them in the bottom of the ocean. Carbon block after carbon block after carbon block from these little ecosystems we create from the machines. You know, and it doesn't have to cost that much because they're self-automating machines that are made to never break down. But you have to have the seed money for that. In order to get the seed money, you have to reduce taxes by making everybody educate themselves. And so that's what my whole system is. I need recruits. I need kids for that. Luckily, okay, so I'm only going to say this once, and if I ever hear people write this on the messages, I'm going to delete the message. But yeah, I have a 16-year-old daughter who really wants to be a pro athlete and a genius, and and do my program with me here in Boulder, in my house. See, that's why I can't have my brothers kick me out of my house. This was really pissed off. And she hates Italy, and she thinks Italians are the worst, and they're evil and the most evil, and she thinks she's like an American in an Italian's body, and so that's going to work out great in about 3 years, once I get set up with this. But anyway, shh, okay, because I don't want her calling me up and telling me, I want this and I want that, because I don't have the money to buy anything, and I don't want to get sued or anything like that. So anyways, let me show you my house, because this is my house, which is one reason why it pissed me off that my brothers were like, you need to live you don't have a job, and so you should just sell it and get a tour van. Well, the reason I'm so broke is because I considered this place my house, because like my brother has a house, my other brother has a house, so like why can't I have a house? My mom has a house and she's old. When she dies, I can use the money from her house to buy their house, my house off my brother's. Like, what's the big deal? Like, why can't they? And I guess they can't pay their mortgages because they get the $36,000 a year. Now, it used to be a lot less. Like, don't think I'm all rich. It was $500 a month for a while, and then it was $1,400 a month. But then over the last couple of years, just a few years, it went up because of the fracking, and who knows, it'll stay up, because it's actually gone down a little bit. And so that's what's kind of worrying me. That's why I'm going to do the OnlyFans, try to make money. But 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 yeah, that's why, because I set this place up. Oh yeah, and like my brother Wyndham, he's all like pissed that thinks that I shouldn't be able to have a house. My mom bought his house for him with the money that she got from her brother when she sold her mother's house, and he got the cash and gave it to him to be able to buy it. And then his house went up $100,000 in the first year he had it, just because he got lucky. And so for him to be like, you don't get a house, Kyle, because I'm better than you and I earned it. It's like, dude, we're a family. You got to think like a team, dude. Don't be a psycho fucking path. So, so here is there is my axolotl. I have an axolotl cooler already. There's my air purifier, because I'm gonna get a cockatiel again. My other cockatiel was killed by my ferrets, but there's I'm gonna put my axolotl. I have 2 water frogs. I'm gonna put there. I have two. What are those things called? Crabs, sand crabs. I'm gonna put a sand dirt
water skink, sand skink, tegu and tortoise in there, and I already had my tegu and tortoise in there. 2-foot tegu and big 10-year-old tortoise, redfoot tortoise, red tegu. But I got rid of that. They were cute. Put like a snake in there, scorpion or something in there. Those are my two birds. They fly freely. There's my Bob dummy that I'll be doing YouTube video and OnlyFans videos with because I'm gonna set up actual point routines that maybe I can other people can do because the UFC doesn't even have a website. I'll try to set this up, but because they have it's the sensor on the back, so you do 50 kicks to this, and you have to set it up so it, and you have to be like limber, like Jean Claude. Yeah, I got $10 of cash back at the Safeway today because I hadn't I've never done that, and I figured I'd do it just once just to have a little bit more weed. So yeah, I got a joint. So here's my this isn't working, but I'm gonna put a little reptile in there, like, and then there's a tarantula that goes down there, and then I'm a bird, a fish there, and then a leopard gecko there. My leopard gecko died a month ago, but I'll get a leopard gecko in there, and then a gargoyle gecko there, and here's my hamster. Hamster goes up there. The tube over there, and then down there to the other hamster tube. Ferrets can go there, up here to there, and then across here to the top to there. I'm gonna get a praying mantis here. Spider, spider, and then fish. I had to totally take these off because the electricians put this there just a couple of weeks ago. And I'm like the Romans, I have the statues up everywhere, just like in ancient Rome, and then my informational charts. And I built this for the ferrets, maybe to be able to crawl down on their own sometime. I don't know, wasteful thinking. And anyway, and then here's that. Just the I'll show that later. That's my room. The ferret tubes go all over, and then the exercise stuff, machines. I have a rowing machine, swimming machine, bike machine, barbell bar. Set and bench where my bed is, and dumbbells, pull-up bar, and the with the little things for stretching, hand and then a little bob dummy. So yeah, I can try to get back in shape. It's gonna be hard because I'm so like fat, but I can be the funny fat guy. That's how I can kind of like enjoy being out of shape in the beginning. So, anyways, that's what I'm up to. Oh yeah, so I forgot to talk about the oil thing, dude. Jesus Christ. So if you're getting like the oil money, right? What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that do? What is well, because I think you're kind of a loser if you're just gonna go and like travel around or just use that as a supplement to your own life or help you live that much better. Like, if you can use that money to just use spare time to change the world, then that's what you should do. And so that's why I think I can do that with my whole website. Because I created the website to help make a place where you could actually test yourself on that, and also to and to explain the tests and to create it all, if you look at it. And also to show a knowledge in a way that you can't show any other things. Because if you show it all in the same layout, people can, they'd be like, oh, I like the layout and I like this subject, and that's cool to have the layout. Well, I wonder what the layout on this subject would look like. And but but yeah, with the stories and all the videos with Google Earth and stuff, it's Whew, I have so much work to do on that. Yeah. So, but anyway, the system that I set up, I think is the way forward. Self taught, and also if you're out there, and also I didn't mention doing it all at once. If you're learning and exercising at the same time, and I'm going to start practicing that myself pretty soon by creating the titles for all my chapters for all these books. But you can do it like with the bicycling and or areas anywhere in the world. That's the cool thing about it, and even in flat places because you can cover extra distance in the flat places. So, anyways, that's enough talking. I am going to spend. I'm gonna smoke a little bit and rest of the weed here. And what time is it? Yeah, it's almost once 10 comes. I'm gonna lie down. So I'm gonna go and try to clean up my room some, and hook up those externals if I can, or maybe I'll just go to sleep now. But I don't think I have to go. I think she said something about 11. I don't have to show up like at 6 in the morning or anything like that. So, anyways, that's enough talking. I have to. I feel like pressured because hopefully tomorrow, I don't know if I'll have the energy, but the next thing I'm gonna do is take photos of the whole apartment and then do ads and try to get a roommate quick. And then I'm gonna do my taxes, find that K9 wherever my room. I have to organize my room, find the K9, do the taxes, and then I've got the important stuff out of the way. Yeah. So, and I have to write, I guess, like an explanation for myself. Now I have to go into court on the 30th of August because I have a restraining order against me from my mother and my brother. Because I was telling my mother that she was pissing me off in texts, and I never called her or said I was going to go there. I was saying, stay away from me. I don't want to talk to you. I bet that's happened a bunch of times. Somebody's like, stay away from me. I don't want to talk to you. And they're like, oh, yeah? Well, I'm going to get a restraining order against you. Fucking moron. That's what Amber Heard did that. Anyways, yeah, I have to eat. Yeah, I'm going to have a salad, and I haven't been eating enough. But I guess I'll have a big breakfast tomorrow morning. Alrighty, talk to you tomorrow.